hard to come to terms with their violent nature.
It's time to embrace your true self.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Daredevil Born Again finale trailer. There's only one episode left in season 1, and then we pick up in season 2. So we'll find out how much of a cliffhanger there's going to be in the finale, because they knew that they were breaking the original 18 episodes in half and going to do season 2. So even with the original creative team, they were probably planning on ending on some kind of big cliffhanger. Thankfully, though, they fired that original creative team and the new creative team came on. They just did episode 8, 9. They also did episode 1. So it's pretty easy to tell, even if you didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes, who did which parts of the season. Like, oh, very clearly, somebody came in and did completely different last 2 episodes here than the last several episodes. Generally just seems like the quality is starting to rise to the level that people were expecting when we heard that Marvel was going to be doing a new Daredevil series on Disney+. Funny thing about that, turns out you were right to be worried, but at least Kevin Foggy and Marvel eventually figured out what wasn't working and tried to fix it. So all of season 2 will be this new creative team. Hopefully it will be just as banger as episode 8 was, and hopefully they'll be able to land this bird in a solid way. Like, hopefully the finale will pay off. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. The other big reminder is that season 2 episodes will release next year, so there won't be a big long wait. They've been filming for a while now, so they are been planning to release the episodes next year. They didn't say when, but my early theory is that they're trying to release episodes before Avengers Doomsday comes out, or maybe it'll overlap just like a little bit. We will see how that winds up working out, because naturally the big conversation next year with Avengers Doomsday is how it's going to affect everything else that's happening in the MCU, because there are other movies happening next year, like Spider-Man Brand New Day. We already know a little bit about how they're explaining the timeline of that relative to Avengers Doomsday.
This is it, people. Let's move. Let's go, 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 go.
But there's also a whole bunch of TV shows happening next year too, so naturally the conversation has been, what are they going to do? Like, are they going to address what happened during Avengers Doomsday? Or the easier way to do it is just pretend like the shows take place before Avengers Doomsday. The only other real option to them would be to have the shows set on, say, like Battle World during the events of Secret Wars, which I think it just throws too many complications in the mix. Generally, they don't want the TV show people to have to worry about crazy universe-altering stuff like that, because we're literally going to be fixing the multiverse after Secret Wars. So right after Secret Wars, like just within a year of Avengers Doomsday, things will be back closer to, like not exactly, but closer to status quo in terms of what things look like ground level. Just way more mutants, X-Men, way more characters just running around at ground level. But as you can see in all the footage, Punisher, big part of the finale. Early on, I actually thought that they were going to wrap up the Punisher storyline before they wrapped up the Muse storyline, but turns out the new showrunners probably reconfigured that, and they're probably like, you know what, let's get past all the Muse stuff as fast as possible and focus more on the Punisher stuff, because next year too, in addition to Daredevil Born Again Season 2, they've also got that Punisher short movie, the special presentation they're releasing. John Bernthal himself is helping write. So there's just a lot of Punisher-related stuff happening in the MCU next year, so it makes sense that the new showrunners, the new creatives, would want to focus on him at the end of the season, so you go into Season 2 and go into next year just thinking more about Punisher. Punisher, a return to form, Punisher, Born Again. We will see what they wind up titling that Punisher special presentation. It kind of sounds like the plot of that will spill out of the results of the finale here, like Punisher will have unfinished business, and some of that might have something to do with these Punisher cops, this anti-vigilante task force, which are basically the Punisher cops that have all just been put together on the same team, then upgraded by Kingpin with way more special privileges about what they are able to get away with and way more gear. Heading into Season 2, that anti-vigilante task force is going to continue to be a big running storyline. The actual title of the finale is Straight to Hell, which is a reference to a couple different things. Anytime you mention Daredevil and Hell in the same sentence, it evokes a lot of imagery. You think Hell's Kitchen, like literally back to Hell's Kitchen, because a lot of the season 2 footage we've seen them filming is him literally in front of Fogwell's and in front of Josie's. So there'll be a lot of stuff happening back in Hell's Kitchen in season 2.
You just gonna stand out there like a hobo, Matt? Or are you gonna come in, have a drink?
But also, it's clearly a metaphor to Daredevil almost or dying briefly for like about a couple hot seconds. He goes straight to hell because he just got shot by Bullseye, and it seems like he's bleeding out. Like, is he going to actually die and then come back to life? Will he be literally born again, or is this more of a metaphorical born again? Because it also kind of seems like that's what the showrunner was going for when he had Bullseye hit Matt, when he inadvertently wound up saving Kingpin's life by taking the bullet for him. They wanted to feel like Daredevil is actually born again and he's bleeding out here on the ground. So at some point, they'll probably address that at the beginning of the episode. But because we see all this footage with Daredevil teaming up with Punisher and they're at Matt's apartment, like the anti-vigilante task force, these Punisher cops show up at Matt's apartment and then they start fighting them together. He has to get better way faster. Like, he doesn't have a healing factor like Wolverine or Deadpool. So there's got to be some kind of small time jump. Dude literally just took a bullet through the chest. Matt does have the special radar sense, but none of his special abilities have anything to do with healing faster than normal. Also, a lot of people asking, where has Punisher been this entire time? Now he looks way more clean-shaven, he's wearing his Punisher body armor, he's wearing the logo on his chest. So early theory, there's at least a small time jump. I believe we also got some Karen Page footage too in the finale, so I think Karen Page is back. I think there's supposed to be some kind of reference to Foggy Nelson too on screen, like Eldon Henson was on screen as Foggy Nelson, but wasn't clear if he was seeing him while he was in this limbo near-death state. Like, was he just remembering Foggy, or does he see his spirit or something crazy like that? But at least in some way, the episode will reference Foggy, either in flashback or in some metaphorical kind of way. And it does seem like, based on the season 2 footage that we've seen so far, that Karen Page is in most of, if not all, the episodes. Maybe not every single episode, but most of the episodes. So it does sound like they've kind of reset things back to baseline for Daredevil Netflix. Now they gotta do is just finish bringing back all the rest of the Defenders characters. But Matt is putting a team together in season 2. So when Matt puts a team together, they're ground level. What does that make you think of? That makes you think of Defenders. We will see who winds up being on that team, though.
I love Jessica Jones, and I think it's so exciting that there seems to be such an appetite to see her again.
Looking at all this footage here, there's one common theme. It is mostly Punisher just wrecking all those Punisher cops, like he's finally doing something about them, whereas previously when we saw him, even though I think the new showrunners reshot that Punisher scene, or maybe it was the original creatives, and then the new showrunners just repurposed the scene in a slightly different episode than the original showrunners intended. But at least in their original reunion earlier this season, Punisher did not seem to care what they were doing, like, they're just crazy fanboys, who cares, they're not my responsibility. Would it not be cool if Karen Page has something to do with him being responsible for helping Daredevil out with these Punisher cops? Like, what if Karen Page had something to do with him finally going after them? There have been so many people posting on social media about Punisher, and most of the posts have something to do about him responding or reacting to or being with Karen Page again. All you had to do to get Punisher to do something about them was get them to threaten Karen Page's life, and boom, that was the end of it. But even though Punisher kills most of these dudes, the important thing to remember is that Fisk will continue using the anti-vigilante task force in season 2. So it's not like Punisher killing all these dudes is going to fix that problem. Like, it'll continue to be a big problem for them. But at least when they were dancing near each other and Fisk told Daredevil that there would be consequences for him putting the suit back on, this is what he was talking about, sending the anti-vigilante task force to his place because he knows where he lives. Next big thing is what happens with Bullseye after the events of episode 8. So remember, like, we ended the episode, we're still in the ballroom, Bullseye is still in the ballroom. Either he has to escape really fast, or he has to double down and try to continue to kill Kingpin. For everybody asking why Bullseye needed a scope, why did he wait so long to actually cock the gun, that was mostly for dramatic effect, and it was mostly because he stole the gun from one of the Punisher cops. So it was just that Punisher cop happened to have a scope on the rifle that he had with him, and Bullseye just took the weapon that was available to him. But also, based on the brand new footage from season 2 with them filming, Bullseye is back during season 2. So Bullseye does not die during the finale or anything like that. Like, he will just continue into season 2, which I think is the right move. They're still on the trajectory of pushing him in a more comic book accurate direction. Like, he's not quite in a fully comic book accurate suit. The one he's wearing is based on a version from the comics, but not the iconic Bullseye costume that most people think of when they think of the original Bullseye. But there are a couple running storylines that they do have to clear up by the end of the season, mostly Fisk learning what Vanessa did hiring Bullseye in the first place and what that eventually led to, and then Kingpin fully reassuming his Mayor Kingpin status, like going back into full Kingpin mode, which he's kind of already done. Like, he's kind of been doing that this whole season, but just making it a little more official. And we will see how they end things between Daredevil and, say, like Karen Page, if Karen Page is coming back for most of season 2. Like, maybe they'll just make up. I don't know that they're going to get into a relationship or anything like that, but at least they'll be friends again in the way that you want them to be friends. We will see what kind of crazy cameos they try to work up, just because so much of the episode seems like it's focusing on Punisher. Maybe there'll be some more Defender references. But everyone post all your predictions in the comments below. My full episode 9 video will post next Wednesday after they release it, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. The other real big surprise is that some information leaked out about what really happened behind the scenes at Marvel with Kit Harington's Black Knight, and there was this really shady reason apparently that he did not come back, so I'll try to do a video for that as soon as possible. There'll also be a bunch more Marvel footage coming next week too, so everybody click here for that brand new Fantastic Four trailer video, and click here for that brand new Superman CinemaCon trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.